Okay, now we're starting. Now we're live.
Okay.
All right, everybody. Welcome to the Vibe Podcast Show. This is episode number 1 here in LA. Today we have a special guest joining us, singer-songwriter Marilyn Ford.
Hello.
All right, awesome. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
For having me.
So right now, I do have a couple questions for you, Marilyn, just to kind of get things rolling, get things started.
Okay.
First of all, where are you from?
Okay. So I'm from Chino Hills, California. I grew up there. That's where I'm from.
Chino Hills, California, and you still live there now, born and raised?
Yep. It's about an hour away from LA.
Yeah, it's not too far, but you know.
Oh, like 45 to an hour.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, how did you I personally want to know, how did you get into music? I mean, I saw your newest single. Loved the music video, by the way. Yeah, that guy did a great job. Everything looked crisp, everything looked clean, and it was a great set. But I just wanted how did you get into it? Where did this start? Everything.
Okay. How'd I get into music?
Yeah.
So I've been singing for like ever since I was a kid. I did like choirs and bands and those kinds of things, like cover band. But I always wanted to like do my own music, be a singer, the whole thing.
Oh, so how did you get into music? So you said you were doing band, you were doing choir in school and stuff like that. But how did you, so that's kind of assuming where you fell in love with it. How did you like, all right, I'm going to do this. Like, I'm going to make some songs. I'm going to make this music video. I'm going to do this. I'm going to record. Like, how did all that good stuff start?
And
you know?
I've been writing for a long time. Like, I've written songs. A lot of them were trash. But now we're kind of starting to get to the good stuff.
Yeah.
So, I wanted to make music videos. So I'm starting to do that now, now that I have the music. And, I mean, how did I get into it? I just loved music and I always wanted to do it. So I just decided I'd go and do it.
So you got to do it. It was was there never another option? Because I know for me, I'm a videographer, a photographer, and all that stuff. But I never even. I was actually just thinking about it on my drive here today. I actually didn't. I'm at 25 right now, and the scope didn't hit photography until like 22. Like I didn't even. It wasn't even on my radar until I was 22.
Okay. Well, no, for me, it was always I've gone off into doing like different things, like even with school, like focusing so much on school, like business, because I used to be a music major, but I switched to business.
Yeah.
And I was even teaching music lessons, like piano lessons for kids. And even through teaching, although there's things that I love, right, to do. Like I love teaching, I love learning about music, I love all those things. But to be an artist, I think that's the most important thing for me. And it's always come back to that. So, like, no matter what I break off and do, something always kind of like...
It brings you back.
Brings me right back.
Brings you back. That's beautiful. Yeah. I think that's the... it's the action of it being a real passion. You know, that's inevitable. Is that it's always going to bring you back. And I believe it does love you back too. You know, like I think a lot of people say that in the creative fields don't love you back. It's all about the game, but I think you can. I think you can work with it.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, so you released your music independently. Tell us what played a role in that decision.
Okay. So, I was writing when I was 18. I started writing my own music. I started recording songs and things like that. And I was working with a couple of people who, promised me that they could do certain things for me as far as getting the music done, getting the visuals done and stuff like that. And I ended up working with a couple of people and nothing ever really happened with it. So I was like, you know what? I'm tired of things not getting done. So I decided, you know what? I'm just going to do it by myself. Like, that's the only way anything's ever gotten done is when you do it by yourself. So
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
You got to wear, I'm sure you got to wear a lot of hats. You got to do a lot of different things. You got to figure out things. And YouTube is where I go to school. You know what I mean? I watch
University of YouTube.
University of YouTube, baby. That's it right there. But that's awesome. I mean, so it really came down to it wasn't gonna get done unless you did it.
That's literally the only way things get done.
That's the only way things get done. I agree, 100%. I mean,
I've tried to depend on people. Just most people are not reliable.
Sometimes you got to. Sometimes you got to take chances. Everything's got risk and reward, but man, in my experience, and I'm sure yours as well, it doesn't seem like anything gets done how you want it unless you do it.
Right.
Yeah, you got to do it yourself for sure.
What it is.
How would you? Okay, so we're all artists here. We all make this medium happy. Yep. I want to know, how do you define artistry though? Like, what's important about this form of singing and songwriting to you?
To me.
Like, what's so special? Why does it bring Marilyn back?
Okay, so let me see. Why is artistry so special, like music? Well, I think the ability to create. So when I write music, it's basically to recreate moments that I've experienced in my life. And I think that's important because that's kind of my way of like not dealing with the issue, but just talking about it. You know what I mean? And maybe it is dealing, because sometimes talking about something.
Well, that's how you cope.
Right.
You know, it's your coping mechanism, and you know, I think it's at least you have it healthy. You know, you're building something out of it. Everybody's got to cope different ways.
Yeah. The music part is healthy.
Yeah. Maybe not everything else, but the art of building yourself up is definitely healthy.
And it just feels good.
It feels good. Yeah. Progress feels good, especially when you're doing it yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Feels amazing. So how would you define like your whole life's purpose? I understand you're making money right now, but I mean, you know, is the goal more of like is there a bigger goal to more like leave a legacy? You just you're just trying to make your little print in this business. Like, what's your actual like life purpose?
Okay.
You know.
So my life's purpose is to move people emotionally. Mm-hmm. So if I'm not doing that, then I'm not fulfilling my life's purpose. So what do I mean? All right. So if I'm making a song and someone hears the song, if they're not moved, if it didn't make you feel happy, sad, motivated, whatever feeling that the music could bring, then I'm not fulfilling my life's purpose. You
want to make sure you articulate what you are trying to convey through your song. And if someone doesn't feel that, if someone isn't feeling that, you don't feel accomplished.
If you listen to my work and you don't feel moved emotionally, then I'm not fulfilling my life's purpose. So that's basically what it's all about. It's about making people move. And I feel like that's all I'm here for, really.
That's cool. I mean, that's a grand purpose. You know, it's hard to do. You got some work ahead of you, but you know, it's definitely that sounds very fulfilling.
Yeah.
I want to know what other couple of things look like to you. Success is kind of a relative term. You know what I mean? It's very opinionated based. You know, to people who, you know, we're successful to some people, but not compared to other people. So right. I want to know what looks like success to you. Like, what do you think embodies success to Marilyn? You know, like where can you get to where you're successful in your mind?
Okay. So I can think of a couple things. So the first thing is one of the things that would make me feel like, okay, I've succeeded in, you know, all my efforts that I put towards music is if I can get at least one song on the Billboard Hot 100.
One on the Billboard, dude. That's like, that's the dream, man. Man, it's so... At
least just one, and that's just the start of success. I mean, because people can get multiple songs on the Billboard.
You know what the beauty of music is everybody is one song away from popping off.
Yes.
You are one song away from blowing up. So you get that one song on that Billboard, you get that one song on SoundCloud, that's gonna propel you. And I think that's I think that's you know, that it is a little bit of like a shot in the dark, but I think it is something to keep in mind. You know what I mean? Like, maybe not something to shoot for, but it's very important. You know what I mean? Like I mean, Khalid, for example, you know, he blew up because he released Location and then shot straight
right,
up.
like that was a good song. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
it was a great song. It's still a great song.
Uh-huh.
But that's my
Nas
point.
X too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nas X too, and I mean, I think there's countless of other, there's a lot of musicians who, of course, put in their work, and there was a lot of experience and a lot of time and money and all this blood, sweat, and tears that went into the craft, but was able to see success from all that experience and putting in work and all that stuff. So
right.
I think it's very important. I know I found myself that I need to. There's a lot of ups and downs in this type of field and business. And, the same exact day, you could wake up in the morning and be like, well, is anything going on? Whatever. And then you get an email that same night, and all of a sudden, everything blows up.
Just opportunity.
Yeah, it's opportunity. That's an opportunity, yeah.
Another thing that would mean success for me is to be able to sell out shows. So, like, arenas shows. Like, to me, if I could sell out an arena one day, that would be the beginning of success. Also, another thing would be to basically make a complete living off of music related things.
I think that's the main goal for all of us, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we want to work on our craft, we want to create, we want to make people move, but we got to make some money doing it. We got to make some money doing it.
Yeah,
but it's a give and take, I'm sure you had to too. You got to put a lot of time into your craft before anybody's going to give you any money to do it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So there's a lot of.
And I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I'm cool with that too. And you need to be cool with that. Because guess what? No one. Just because you got a mic and you got a voice doesn't mean someone's going to pay you money.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
right.
that doesn't mean anything. You got to work it up. But so now what does courage look like to you? Like we've talked about success, but I guess a good way to shape this is like how would you get to that success? You know what I mean? Like what is courage to you?
Okay, courage. So courage to me means to do things that make you uncomfortable and do things that make you afraid, that you're afraid of, right? So like some people are really nervous about like performing on stage, and it depends, like, if you have a really big crowd, yeah, you'd probably be nervous, right? But that certain things are good for you. You're like, okay, well, if I want to advance to the next step in life, I need to get on the stage with all these people. So courage would be doing that even though it makes you feel so nervous, so uncomfortable, and you don't know what's going to happen next.
I think it's that gets me excited, you know what I mean? Because when something new and like when something like, I mean, just imagining getting up in front of even 1,000 people. I feel like, to me, 1,000 people is a lot of people. So you get up in front of thousands of people and like you got to put on your. I can't imagine the nerve behind that, you know what I mean? But still, I think it's great that you use that.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm nervous, but we gotta use that emotion. You know what I mean? We gotta do this. We gotta do this. We're here. Like the stage is right there, song's playing. I gotta run out and do this right now. Like, I've transferred my nervous energy into positive energy. So even though I'm like, man, I feel nervous, like it doesn't really make me afraid anymore. Like it's not a scary feeling. That's great.
I feel like end up doing better the more nervous I am.
I think so too. Yeah, I think
it's really weird.
Pressure's a motivator. Yeah. Especially, but only if you use it that way.
Mm-hmm. Some people can knock you down.
Knock you
under
anything. Pressure. Yeah.
Definitely.
So, it takes a certain person to make some music. Takes a certain person to go down a creative field. Mm-hmm. What would you say, like, in any creative field? What would you say one characteristic lives in each person that has to be in that field? Meaning, like, what type of characteristic do you think everybody who makes music all have in common? You know what I mean? Is it something like is it the fame, you know what I mean, like that's that you think everybody's motivated by, or is it like what you think motivates everybody to doing in music?
What motivates everyone? I don't know, because everyone has their own different thing, but I do know what characteristics you might need to have to like start making moves.
I guess let's be a little more specific. Let's break it down to you. What do you think if you could break down one characteristic that you have of why, like, is it determination? You know what I mean? Is it like...
No, it's self-reliance.
Self-reliance.
Yeah.
I like that. Oh, man, I like that.
I feel like everyone, like, who wants to start off in doing music, a lot of people get stuck on the, like, I don't know how to do this. Go to the studio and get equipment and work the equipment and, like... But, like, you have to learn all those things. You have to do all those things, especially in the beginning, because no one's going to do it for you. Unless you're rich, like, right, you could pay for everything, but most people aren't, and especially starting off in a career that costs a lot of money, because you have a lot of equipment, you have a lot of social media stuff you have to do, a lot of marketing stuff you have to do. So, like, I feel like doing all that stuff yourself in the beginning is definitely really, really important.
You know, we are in 2019 right now, but we are still in America, and I think the American dream is still alive. You know what I mean? Where you grab your bootstraps and you pull yourself. What is it? You pull yourself up by your bootstraps. I believe that's what it is. And yeah, you gotta. And it's not like, you know, we all have people who help us out and it may open doors in the business, but nothing gets done without you doing it. Yeah. I just believe that. You know what I mean? Like this, it just doesn't. It just doesn't. So if you can be self-reliant, you can get everything done.
Yeah.
You know, if you can wear all those hats, if you can figure out how to do this and how to do that, and go to the studio and where to record and how to release and who to promote it. But that's all stuff, you know, that takes time and experience. You just got to put in the time.
Yeah.
You just got to put in the work.
But I will say that although self-reliance is important, at a certain point you need to be able to delegate tasks. Because it does become a lot. The more and more things that you have to do, if you cannot delegate, then you're just not going to get as much done as you'd like to.
Well, in this business, guess what? I mean, you're a singer right now, and the bigger you get, the bigger your team is going to get. And I believe, and I think that's going to, you know, that's going to add on, like, okay, so now all of a sudden you're not only just worried about, you know, you making music and paying your rent, but you got people around you who are also depending on you as well. So I think, you know, I think a lot of the times we forget to recognize that singers and songwriters are kind of bosses. You know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff that goes on around them, and I'm sure you as well. You know, you have to be self-reliant, but there is people helping you out. You know, there is people like doing, like there's someone who did your music video for. You know what I mean? There is some people you may have to hire, but it's still.
Right, because
I
couldn't physically do my whole video by myself.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
like, I need someone. I need people.
You set it up on. It's not gonna be the same. It's not gonna be the same.
You have to have
that
help.
If you need that quality, if you really want that quality, you gotta sometimes you need help. You know what I mean? You can't absolutely do everything by yourself, but I think you can learn how to what everything is. I think in the beginning,
it's really important.
It's almost. I feel like it's almost like a requirement.
It's a requirement.
Yeah, it's a requirement. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And this is a big one too. That I really want to know. Can you name, so you personally, who has like had a tremendous impact on you as a creator? So somebody who, it doesn't have to necessarily be in music, but somebody who is a creator and who motivates you to be like, wow.
Okay. Someone who motivates me as a creator is Billie Eilish.
Billie Eilish.
Yeah.
Eilish. Billie Eilish.
It's always hard.
Why is that?
I'll tell you why. It's not necessarily her music style. It's the fact that her music style is so different. So a lot of people will tell you, when you're writing songs, it has to be this way and that way, and you have to have this kind of sound and this kind of thing. But then you get people like Billie Eilish, boom, come in, drop Bad Guy, which is a sound that no one does. It's completely like not pop, but it charted on the pop billboards, right? So it's completely not pop, and it's completely everything different than what everyone says you need to be making. But the truth is, it sells. People like it, and that's unique. Really helped me. Yeah,
she's really found that unique niche.
Definitely.
Yeah,
and it's really helped me like think in the sense that, okay, while everyone's telling me that I need to have a sound like this person or this person, that's not true. Because if people like Billie Eilish can come in and do music like that and sell, then that's all that matters. Do people like the music? So now my creativity, I'm doing what I feel. Like, if I feel it, if it sounds good to me, I'm gonna rock with it. You know? And
you got to. There's no template in a creative field, you know, and you can look at people and model yourself after them and try to get, you know, what, and try to become the next whatever, but you don't want to be. Why would you want to be the next whatever? You got to be the first Marilyn Ford. You got to be the Marilyn Ford. You know what I mean? Like, and so that's what I think. That's definitely something important to remember is to be unique. And I think it's almost like a cliche to say that, but it's a cliche for a reason. You know, like it's I think Billie Eilish was a great example. Yeah.
Definitely. But I do like her music. I listen.
She makes great music. She makes amazing music, and she's very talented.
Yeah.
She's extremely talented. And you know what, too? Real quick, she's obviously young. She's 17, but she has, I don't know if you know, she has a ton of self-awareness, and I know I didn't have at that age. Whereas she has a huge self-awareness. Whereas, like, just for example, I saw an interview where she said that she wears baggy clothes because she doesn't want the whole world to know like
what she looks like.
She doesn't want everybody to know everything about her, and which is, I think, that takes a huge self-awareness, especially when you're famous, because everything about you is everywhere. You know, you walk outside your door and you got people taking pictures of you.
Everything's exposed.
You know, so everything's exposed. So I think she's keeping that something for herself. You know what I mean? Like something like this. Like this is mine.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that it's a small gesture to wear clothes. You know, but her meaning behind it is huge. I think that takes a lot of self-awareness. Yeah.
Yeah, she is young and very self-aware. I don't think I was that self-aware.
Definitely not. 100%. No. I don't think most people are. But what? So I got a good question for you too. What do you think the world needs less of? Everybody's asking what the world needs more of. What do you think it needs less of?
Okay. So if we're talking about in a music sense and music business, one of the things that I think the world needs less of is people who abuse their power in situations. So for example, I've dealt with many producers, but what happens a lot as being like a woman in music and trying to make music is that you end up running into like a lot of not so good people or people in higher positions of power than you, so they'll try to use that power to like manipulate you to do certain things. Maybe
take advantage, of you in some sort of way.
Yeah. So and I'll even give you like a little story.
Please.
I met this guy at a performance club, and basically he was giving a speech on stage, and I really liked what he was saying, and I was like, oh, that'd be dope if he could be my mentor, because he seems like he really knows what he's talking about. So I go up to him, asked him if he could be my mentor. He was like, yeah, I'll be your mentor. Anyway, so we meet 2 times in his studio, right? The first time everything was cool, everything was good. He listened to my music. He was like, yeah, I want to make like a whole EP for you, this and that. And so I come back to the studio the next day. We're doing my session there was someone else in the studio too, so it was like 3 people in the studio. And while I'm singing, he just comes up behind me and starts massaging me. Yeah. And
he just took it upon himself.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah.
And so he was probably, basically what he was doing is he was abusing his power.
Yeah.
He saw it as, she wants help, so I'm gonna help her, but I'm also gonna get what I want at the same time.
Of course. I mean, what's in it for me, right?
Right. There has to be something in it for me, but that wasn't what he was talking about in the beginning.
Of course not. Yeah.
And so it's just really frustrating, because after that situation, I told him, that he can't do that. You can't just put your hands on me whenever you feel like it. No. And so he said, okay. He acted real cool about it, but guess what? That was like the last session we ever did.
Now he has no reason to hit you up. He's
right,
like, all right,
no reason. It's over, right? Everything that he cared about was over. So it really bothered me, and that happens a lot to a lot of girls, and that's not the first time that's happened. And
I'm sure it won't be the last time either.
Yeah.
And I think that's I think that might even go under your category of courage. I mean, like, it's coming.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, not that I agree with it, but I believe it is a fact where it's a man's world. Maybe not a man's world. It's a man's business.
I feel like it's still. Yeah. It is a man's business.
We're making good strides. We're moving towards a different area where it's women have much more power and everything else. But I think it's still we're not. I don't think we can say that yet. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
there's
I think
still
it's
a lot
a
of
man's
disrespect
world.
that goes on.
There's a lot,
of,
yeah. And
so
I think you're right. I think the world needs less
creepy producers.
less creepy dudes.
No, just people who can't respect, the craft of it. Like, just because I come into your studio, like, I don't want to date you. Like, I'm here to get to work. Like,
look, there's boundaries.
I'm trying to blow up.
We're in business. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, we gotta let's make some business. We don't need to. I don't know. It doesn't always, and it seems to always be everybody's. There's a lot of people, especially in this business, looking out for their own self-interest. You know what I mean? Which is what you do gotta do. I don't knock that. You gotta pay your bills. You gotta make sure like you're set up. But when it comes to the expense of like screwing everybody else over, come on. You know what I mean? Like there's a line, there's a boundary. You could take care of yourself and help other people out.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
less creepy producers. That would make me happy. That'd make a better world. For sure.
Do you use so I really want to know about your creative process when you write a song.
Okay.
What helps to inspire you? Do you ever pick up any inspiration from movies, from books, from real life? Like where does it usually come from?
Okay. In my music, my inspiration is just my experiences, like the things that I go through, the things that I've been through. I feel like I specifically love life because my love life is like ridiculously stupid and crazy and it just never works out, so I have so much to write about.
Hey, at least you get content.
I
right?
got content.
You get great content through this.
I'm still single, but I got content.
hey, but she's single, boy. Bring her more content. She needs it. She's gotta blow her up.
As long as I can write about it.
Yeah, as long as you can write about it. I think that's great, though. I think that's probably the best place to bring your inspiration from is your own personal life. Cause that's where you really feel it and like.
That's all I got.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure there's times where you're not even thinking of a song, you're not even thinking about business, but then something comes up in your head, you're like, I gotta write this down. I have to make sure I remember this.
That happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's cool.
Thank you.
Where can everybody find your music right now? Where's it at?
Okay, my music is on all major streaming platforms. So, talking about Spotify, Apple Music, Google Play, Amazon, YouTube. It's even on the Instagram music things.
Where you can
add music to
your
stuff.
I know exactly what you're talking about. One of my friends just released a song and I tried doing that same thing, but I don't think so. I guess there's a different way of getting on there because I tried doing that.
You have to select it.
Oh, okay.
But yeah.
Well, I think that's awesome. So you can find her everywhere. You're on Spotify, you're on SoundCloud, you're on on YouTube. She has a great music video. Check out her new single. And I saw it last night. I thought it was amazing. But in closing, is there anything you wanna add? Now this podcast isn't over yet. She is gonna do a performance right after this, but. Anything else you want to say before we get to your performance? Anything else? Anything you want to promote? Anything you want to plug? Anything you just want our viewers to know?
Okay. I just want to say thank you to everyone who's been listening to my music. I really appreciate it and watching my videos. Let's just. I just want to say thank you. That's it.
Awesome. Couldn't have said anything better myself.
Thank you for the support.
Yes, of course. Well, everybody, thanks for listening and watching the Vibe podcast show. Next up, we're going to hear the live tune of Marilyn Ford's newest single, Let Me See You Work. All right. Peace and love. Peace and love.
Thought that this was gonna be easy. That all of your charm and your game was gonna work on me. Well, I'll be the first to tell you the car that you drive, I could care less. And all the celebrity chicks that you been with, baby, that ain't none of my business. I wanna know, yeah, I wanna know how far you would take it. I wanna know. I wanna know, do you got enough patience? I wanna know, yeah, I I'll be the first to tell ya, the cash in your pocket, I could care less. All the celebrity friends that you hang with ain't got nothing to do with me, baby. I wanna know, yeah, I wanna know how far you would take it. I wanna know, yeah, I wanna know. Do you got enough patience? I wanna know, yeah, I wanna know. Do you know what the woman's worth? I wanna know, yeah, I wanna know. If you willing to put in work, let me see you work. Let me see you work. Let me see you put in just a little bit of work. Oh yeah, let me see you work. Let me see you work. Let me see you put in just a little bit of work. Let me see you work for it. 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 Yeah. Let me see you work. Let me see you. Let me see. Let me see you work, babe. Let me see you. Tell me, do you get? Let me see you. Let me see you work. Let me see you work. Let me see you work. Let me see you put in just a little bit of work. Let me see you work. Let me see you work. Let me see you put in just a little bit of work. Let me see you work for it. Let me see you work for it. I wanna see you work for it. Let me see you work.